You're listening to the Dibbly Dobbly Podcast. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, and click the bell to make sure you get the latest episodes of the podcast. Be sure to like and share our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. Now, we'll talk about England and talk about the defending champions, obviously. England, let's talk about them. Captain is Josh Buttler. They've won a couple of T20 World Cup titles, England, 2010 and the one in 2022 in Australia. The 2022 T20 World Cup in Australia, they were the champions, of course, winning the final against Pakistan. England, can they be the first team to win back-to-back T20 World Cups? No one has ever done it in the history of the T20 World Cup. So if you see the list of winners in the T20 World Cup over the years, no one's gone back-to-back. Obviously, there are two teams that have won two titles, and that's England and the West Indies. Everyone else that's won a T20 World Cup, India, Australia, Sri Lanka, and obviously Pakistan have won one. So England can be the first team to win back-to-back T20 World Cups. They can also be the first team to win three T20 World Cups in the history of the tournament. But as I said, no team has won back-to-back T20 World Cups because the nature of the format, T20 cricket, very unpredictable, and whoever does well on the day will win the game. So it's not guaranteed that England will win this T20 World Cup, but they're more than capable of doing it. Defending champions from 2022. So a lot of pressure on England. Obviously, in the 2023 Cricket World Cup last year, they were absolutely terrible. Didn't play like the England that we knew. That aggressive, bold sort of England that we sort of associate with the Test side at the moment with Bazball. We didn't quite see that from England last year in the World Cup. Obviously, Buttler was captain. He was poor. Matthew Mott as the coach. Former Australian women's team coach, now coach of England. He was under pressure. So there's a lot of pressure going into this T20 World Cup for England. Whether or not what happened in the World Cup last year will be the same again in this T20 World Cup. So that will be interesting. I think everyone will be interesting to see how England will play in terms, will they play with that aggressive style? Will they take the front foot approach? Be attacking, be bold, or whether or not it will be the same as it was in the 50-over World Cup last year, because they did absolutely play horribly in that tournament last year. They've got a very strong squad. They've got match winners with the bat and with the ball, more than capable. Obviously, Jofra Archer is back. Be interesting to see how he goes. Will he play the whole tournament? Will he be rested? He's coming back from injury. That'll be interesting to see how Archer goes, but it's good to see him back, I suppose. And they can go all the way, England. They've got a capable squad that is able to perform well whenever they need to. But I think the biggest question for England is that mindset. I think, when Owen Morgan and Trevor Bayliss left the England setup, obviously as captain and coach, maybe the transition with Buttler and Matthew Mott probably had an impact on England and how they played in terms of the messaging and the direction that Matthew Mott and Josh Buttler want this England side to play. So let's hope going into this World Cup, if you're an England supporter, that the messaging and the direction is clear and that the players are able to execute that. You would think England, as I mentioned with Australia before, they should probably top the group. Obviously, Australia and England in Group B are probably the top two teams, you would think. Probably one of them will finish on top or bottom. The game against the two teams will determine who will finish on top and second. So it'll be interesting to see what England do in terms of their T20 World Cup this year. As I said, they've got players who excel in T20 cricket all around the world. We've seen that in the IPL this year. Obviously, Buttler scored a few runs and the like. Phil Salt was very good. they've got players who can be destructive with the bat. Also, with the bowling side of things, are capable of taking wickets and doing that. But the question is the mindset, and whether or not England will be the England that we know in terms of that sort of brashness and boldness and aggressive approach, or whether it will be a timid sort of England performance as we saw in the 50 over World Cup last year. But England, definitely one of the favourites to win. You can't go past them. But they'll have to play very well to go back-to-back, because as history suggests, it's very hard to win back-to-back T20 World Cup titles. It hasn't been done before, but can England break the trend and become the first team to do that? We will have to wait and see. Hi, everyone. Make sure you subscribe to the Dibbly Dobbly Podcast YouTube channel and click the bell so you don't miss out on all our episodes and live streams from this ICC T20 World Cup for 2024. If you're watching or listening to this episode on YouTube, let us know in the comments your thoughts on how England will go in this ICC T20 World Cup for 2024. We would love to hear what you have to say.